We started off in Baton Rouge and headed east on I-12, making our way over to I-10. Everywhere we went was a military presence. We saw trucks overturned on the interstate. Trucks like this one that had a sign that said, "Okay," meaning that police had checked it and no one inside was there. We turned south down Menge to head down the 6-mile journey to Highway 90 in Pass Christian. Along the way, we saw destruction. Along the way, we saw signs that let people know they better not loot the few properties that were still standing. Then we headed to a military checkpoint. There were many people trying to get in. There were people checking their property. Along the way, more destruction. Some houses standing, many not. Power lines down everywhere. And then when you finally got to 2nd Street to head the one more block to the Gulf, the sign was marked dead end. Everywhere you looked, there were houses that were marked that they had been checked for survivors or for dead. And there were more signs, signs that people had stayed for Katrina but made it. There were pieces of broken lives, pieces of a bike, a blow dryer, a gold eagle. All along 2nd Street, more destruction of homes, of lives, of trees. Along Highway 90, more destruction, although every now and then you'd see a house standing. Down by the Walmart, holes blown in the entire building. And the apartment complex, which was gone, where many people lost their lives. Out in the Mississippi Sound, nothing but the pilings for piers. Up on the houses, signs marked in spray paint that give the number of dead people, the fact that it had been checked, the date the house was checked. Police are using GPS to let people know where the houses are because you can't tell where streets are. A tree across the street from the Walmart looks like it was decorated with grocery bags. And then a tombstone for Katrina. Along our journey, we find people who either stayed or had come back to see if they had homes. This man named Robert actually stayed during the whole storm.
I'm not saying we made a right decision, but there is no way anyone can ever explain this. We're alive, and that's the most important thing.
What are you thinking about when you look around and see Pass Christian? It's not Pass Christian anymore.
There are no answers. Have your faith. If you have your faith, you have everything. You can look around. If you have faith, then you're within your one, and you're okay.
Will you ever stay again?
No.
Melvin and Freya Schramm came back to see what they had. Now living away in a house crowded with family and friends, they wonder if they can come back.
We did live on Menge Avenue.
Yeah.
You came back to your home?
Uh-huh.
What did you find?
Devastation.
We just climbed through the buildings and pulled a few things out of the attic. It's not much left. Be better off to just bulldoze a lot of it down.
Were you able to physically get in the home and get some things? Because I noticed most things are a pile of rubble.
I had to climb through, break a window out, and take a door hinge off because the floors have buckled. And you can climb inside, but it's not really worth it. I don't know if we're going to even come back to the house. It's an old family house, too.
Will you rebuild here in Pass Christian?
Hopefully at some point we might.
Yeah.
Where do you begin to move forward?
That's what I stood and just looked at it. I don't know.
You just put one foot forward and keep on going.
I went through Camille as a child. I was 16 years old, and I saw it all then. But there's so much more devastation this time than anything Camille could have ever done to us.
What a long day.
This couple, Rose and Melvin, who live in Belrose in Pass Christian, also came back to see what they had left. Their hearts were heavy.
Total. The roof is, the ceiling is down. It's just messed up. You can't even get in. The doors are broken in half. You know, it's just totally gone. The cars sitting on top of each other.
Were you able to pull anything out?
She got some papers. They were all wet and everything, but as far as saving anything, no. Everything is lost. Everything.
What will you do?
We don't know yet. We
don't
thank
know. God, but nobody was there. At least we had evacuated at that time, so we're thankful to be alive.
When you came back today and actually got to see it, not on TV, but firsthand, what went through your heart?
My head just started pounding. It was shock. I couldn't believe it. And I still can't believe it.
Downtown on Davis Street, there is nothing left of the needlepoint store, the jewelry store, the clothing store, the baby store that used to stand here. Needlepoint yarn is all tangled up in the debris. On the beach in Pasquishan that separates East Beach from West Beach, the yacht club is nothing but some pilings. Up on the highway at St. Paul's Catholic Church, something that rescue workers told us they're calling a miracle. The cross out front still stands. The Virgin Mary's statue still stands. Even though the church is destroyed, the tabernacle for the Eucharist is still there, and the large crucifix not a nick. And what amazes rescue workers most, among all this destruction and broken glass, not one piece of stained glass of the Stations of the Cross is broken. And along the streets downtown, you find something else. This book open to this page, Shelter from the Storm. A block away, this page ripped out that says, Not the Will of God. It is obvious that people from other places are trying to help. There are boxes and boxes of clothes that have been sent from all over. And there are signs of people who look back and remember Camille as the good old days. Because of police presence, it was very hard to get into Pasquishan. But when I told one officer that my family had a summer home there, he allowed our camera crew in to see what was left. For my entire life, we've come to this area, and I'm having a hard time recognizing if this is our property, but I believe this is our property. If you look over here, do you see that blue and flower power sheet hanging in the tree? That's one of our sheets, and I think that's the only reason I can recognize that we're on our property, and possibly this big oak tree, an area where I've come for my entire 47 years of life. I can no longer recognize. That's how bad it is. Okay, now I know this is our property, which I had such a hard time telling because I see the tire in the tree that all my nieces and nephews would swing on. And here, right here is our next door neighbors that had just built this big white house. It was brand new, brand spanking new. Here's our swimming pool. As you can see, the water in it's totally blackened, and the trees and the deck and everything around it are gone. I think that's what's left of our house, but what's so strange is it doesn't look like our house because there's other houses just moved over to the street. So it may be the house, but if you notice, there's all these cars that weren't ours that are all over the front lawn. There's a yellow Corvette. I've never seen that in the neighborhood before. Here's where the front porch step was. These were the azalea bushes that were right out front. And the only reason now I really know that this was our family home because I recognize this floor. And this coming up here is the dining room, living room area. You can see if you look up on the second floor, those posters sticking up, those posts, those were a room of just a bunch of old bunk beds from my childhood. This was a summer vacation home for my entire extended family, and so there wasn't really personal memories in here, except when I did see this, I got a little choked up. Way back in that tree is a multicolored blanket that my grandmother, who of course is deceased, had crocheted. And again, I tell people they think about coming to salvage anything, I just don't know where you begin. But on the other hand, you see some strange things. If you look over there on a cushion, you see a piece of china untouched, perfectly fine. That's not ours, that's not our cushion. And maybe our next door neighbors, the Bells or the Shorts who come back and look here, maybe that one little piece of china will make them very happy. Maybe it belonged to somebody in their family. Now I have no idea who this is. This was in the rubble of our house or right next door to our house. And this is someone's prized possession. And I can only hope that he's safe. And I'm going to leave it here But look at Highway 90. Look at this mattress in Highway 90. Look at the hole in Highway 90. And quite honestly, there is raw sewage in many places, and you just don't even want to walk near it. It's definitely not safe to come near it. And if you could see the beach, it's a beautiful, hot, sweaty, but windy, calm day, and it's hard to believe. If this was a normal Sunday, all the people who would be out there enjoying the Mississippi Gulf Coast.